Negative and repetitive energy patterns are continuous cycles of behaviors, thoughts, or emotions that have an unfavorable impact on our lives and well-being. These patterns are often external manifestations of internal limiting beliefs and can arise from past experiences, traumas, or even from the internalization of social norms and family expectations, for example. They are energetic in the sense that they are imbalances originating from this subtle body and personal energy field. But they are also dynamic, affecting how we interact with the world and how the world responds to us. The harm caused by negative and repetitive energy patterns. Negative and repetitive energy patterns are not only destructive, but can also keep individuals stuck in the same cycle. These patterns develop and solidify over time, and as a result, can have a significant impact on an individual's physical, mental, and emotional health. The repetitive nature of these patterns means they can become deeply ingrained and automatic, becoming part of our subconscious programming. Here are some common situations in which these patterns can manifest in our daily lives. Irritability reaction. If you notice that whenever you're under pressure, you react with irritability. This can happen at work or at home when things don't go as planned. This reactive and automatic response can affect relationships and create a tense environment. Reflection. Question what the triggers were. What specifically triggers your irritability? How can you respond differently next time? Procrastination. Having a tendency to delay important tasks, whether professional or personal. This pattern of avoiding something more complex or difficult can lead to last-minute stress, unfinished work, or missed opportunities. Reflection. Question your fears. What is really behind your procrastination? Is there a fear of failure or of not being up to the task? Constant doubt. Constantly questioning your abilities and avoiding decisions, even when you have enough experience and knowledge, can signal a pattern of insecurity. This can prevent you from taking a stand or seizing opportunities for learning and growth. Reflection. Acknowledge your past victories. How can your previous achievements remind, empower, and challenge this insecurity? Patterns in relationships. Repeatedly finding yourself in unsatisfying or toxic relationships, choosing partners who do not respect your needs or boundaries. This pattern may reflect internal beliefs of unworthiness or fear. Reflection. Evaluate your worth. What qualities do you want to be recognized in your relationships? How can you start establishing healthy boundaries? Negative self-talk. An excessively critical inner dialogue that constantly focuses on the negative, predicting failures, or harshly criticizing your actions. This pattern can lead to anxiety, stress, and even paralysis in taking action. Reflection. Replace criticism with affirmations. What are some positive affirmations that can counter your negative self-talk? Avoidance pattern. A person may consistently avoid facing problems or conflicts, opting for distractions like overworking, alcohol consumption, or other escapes. This pattern prevents problem solving and can worsen issues over time. Reflection. Face reality. What small, conscious step could be more beneficial in the long term than avoidance? Lack of motivation. When you start projects with great enthusiasm but quickly lose interest and motivation. This pattern may lead to giving up and hinder the completion of goals and personal development. Reflection. Set clear goals. How can setting small objectives help maintain your motivation? Negative and repetitive energy patterns are often difficult to break because they provide a strange sense of comfort and familiarity, even when they harm us. They can also be perpetuated by the brain's natural and human resistance to change, as the brain prioritizes energy conservation. Forming new pathways requires a lot of energy, and fear of the unknown keeps us in our comfort zone, even if that zone is dysfunctional or painful. How to change negative and repetitive energy patterns. Overcoming these negative and repetitive energy patterns often requires a combination of self-awareness, a conscious intention to change, and practical strategies to develop new patterns of thinking and action. Looking within is a way to live better with our own company and have more self-management in relationships, work, and family. We expect transformations to happen immediately. Our automatic reactions accumulated over a decade of resentments, passed down as references through family generations or culturally, going to be transformed in just 1 week of affirmations and conscious breathing? Releasing a lifetime of harmful behaviors and habits is not as immediate as one might hope. I apologize to those who like magic formulas, but that's not how it works. It's no use hiding reactions, thoughts, and feelings, burying remorse, resentment, or any feeling considered negative. We are guided by them, if not consciously, then within the 95% that is unconscious and truly directs our actions and reactions. Is personal freedom an illusion? Are we making genuine choices? Or are we just conditioned to act according to the directives of all the systems we are part of? How do your education, culture, family, and the media impact your daily decisions? So, how do we expect to erase, uproot, or cut this out? That's not how we deal with negative and repetitive energy patterns. First, because they are yours and arose for a reason, for a need, or as a warning of something important to you. Second, it is precisely by disregarding and ignoring these feelings and concepts that they return and become increasingly harmful. Negative energy patterns are alerts. They can be big or small depending on how much they've been hidden and pushed to the background, and strong or weak depending on how long they've been with us. When you notice resentment, remorse, or another harmful feeling, observe its cycle. What you feel, how you react, your habits, and how you behave. What alert is it presenting? You need to pay attention specifically to that feeling that's catching your attention. What need is being neglected, and where are we hurting ourselves? It might be the need for autonomy, self-care, acceptance, security. Something needs your care. If we address it consciously and lovingly, we are using new ingredients, responding to the call of what our being needs. Practical self-knowledge is the path to exercising your freedom of choice, stepping out of autopilot, starting an evolutionary process, and feeling good and at peace with your own company. The self-knowledge process can seem like a difficult path. At first, it resembles a labyrinth, but little by little, you gain more information and support tools. Soon, the paths become less challenging and more fluid. It is essential to break these patterns and focus on a new and positive way of being. Identifying negative patterns requires a significant degree of self-reflection, critical thinking, and the use of various tools and methods. Through awareness, it is possible to recognize the negative impacts on personal growth, relationships, and health. What is neuroplasticity? Imagine the brain as a river shaped by the continuous flow of our thoughts and experiences. Just as flowing water can alter the course of the land around it, our thoughts can reshape the brain's neural pathways. Neuroplasticity is the science that studies this incredible ability of the brain to reorganize and adapt, forming new connections throughout life. This means we are not stuck with the brain we were born with. We can change it and, by extension, change our lives. Negative and repetitive patterns solidify in our way of thinking, acting, and even feeling, and manifest as behaviors through neuroplasticity. It's the brain function that allows us to shape our neural networks based on our experiences. As we repeat certain thoughts or actions, these internal pathways and the synapses that connect them in the brain become stronger, making it easier to automatically repeat those same responses. This process is what leads us to respond to the world almost instinctively, based on the habits we cultivate, even when those habits are no longer beneficial to our well-being or personal growth. Each experience we have creates and shapes a cascade of biochemical reactions in our body, influencing how we feel and act. Therefore, if you think of your brain as a garden, each thought would be like a seed that could either bloom into something beautiful or turn into weeds. Imagine the power you have to cultivate a mental garden that supports personal growth and positivity. The ability to change lies in perception and awareness, allowing us to deliberately choose to explore new paths, question established routines, and, with practice and intention, form new habits. Why it's important to understand patterns. Emotions generate reactions, which combine with references, thoughts, and interpretations to create feelings. Over time, they form behaviors which, if harmful, solidify into negative patterns. This, in turn, leads to unsatisfactory outcomes and affects well-being. These patterns, born from continuous repetition, can, for example, lead to low self-esteem, depression, and anxiety. Additionally, they can harm relationships by generating and sustaining conflicts. Pay attention to the action verb, generate. Recognizing the origin of these patterns is key to their dissolution. To unravel negative patterns, introspection is essential. It requires a deep dive into understanding behaviors and triggers. By using tools like journaling and meditation, we increase our awareness and can then choose healthier responses. It's an exercise in vigilance to ensure personal growth. Persisting in negative patterns can trap someone in illusory comforts, thus limiting growth and corroding relationships through misunderstandings and resentments. Breaking free from these patterns is crucial to avoiding long-term repercussions and achieving holistic health. Overcoming negative patterns requires effort and resilience, but the path to change is paved with clear goals and the replacement of old habits with new ones. Although rooted in past experiences, these patterns can be reshaped with mindfulness practices, breathing techniques, and meditation. Self-compassion and acknowledging each step forward are vital to maintaining motivation on the journey toward a fuller and more authentic future. For each negative and repetitive pattern you notice, as soon as you become aware of it, and don't be too hard on yourself if you've already been stuck in it for a while, use these ways to reflect on it. Recognize, identify what is yours and what doesn't belong to you. Something like, now I hear my mother saying this. Accept. Accepting doesn't mean liking it. Just notice how you feel and what your thoughts are in those situations. It is what it is. Investigate. Evaluate whether these perceptions are influenced externally, like by other people, cultures, and customs, or internally by your own experiences, history, and attempts to cope. Observe. Notice the impulse to act towards your purpose and intention or react to external events and situations. It's important to recognize that change is a process. Celebrating small victories and acknowledging progress, even if it's minor, can be motivating and help you maintain and move forward. Patience, self-recognition, and self-love are essential, as is understanding that setbacks may happen. They are not the end of the journey, but part of the learning and growth process. Remember that the journey to overcome negative energy patterns is unique and requires time, attention, and constant practice. So, always be open to knowing yourself better and adopting new practices that can support your personal growth and well-being.